Hey Mindset Community, Dr. Ellen here, coming to you today with your next Tire Talk. As you can see, we're officially back in the gym. For those of you who haven't seen too many of our videos before, these will always come after I work out. So thank God you guys can't smell me because today was a hot and tough one. But this is for my Laugh ladies. And so for those of you who are in the Kalamazoo area and are participating in the Laugh program, this one's gonna be for you. But also if you are a runner, think about doing some of these and incorporating these into your daily mobilizations or at least weekly mobilizations to check in with some of your quad tissues. Because we're going to talk a little bit today about some knee pain. Now, keep in mind, the knee is actually a ton more complicated than the two things we're going to cover today. So there's lots of other things to consider when I look at someone. But at least to start, we're going to actually look at terminal knee extension and some of this quad tissue as it comes into interface with the knee. That can get kind of grimy if you're doing a little bit more activity than you're used to. So I want to discuss two things that you can do to look at those tissues and see if you actually have normal ones. So the first thing we're going to go over is terminal knee extension. So if you lay down with your legs straight out, I'll show you a little bit more out to the side, you should be pretty flat down into the ground. They should have just maybe a little bit of slide and glide, but if you tighten your thigh and drive that knee down, you should be able to lift your foot off of the floor a little bit. So if you watch when I tighten my quad and bring my knee back down towards the floor, I actually can clear my heel from the floor, and that's really important. If you can't do that, likely you're missing some extension at your knee, and so we call that terminal knee extension, meaning the final range of motion in your knee, and that's really important for full quad control and full strength here in a really important muscle for runners. So if you can't do that, a lot of people think that that extension just comes from driving the knee down, but what actually happens is there's some rotation that happens at the last few degrees there. So that's usually what's missing is that extension piece, that rotational piece. So what you can do is take your own hands and rotate your shin inward, try to pull that toward your other foot or toward midline, and then you're gonna tighten your quad. So it's almost like your shin is going in and your femur is rolling outward. So again, you're gonna rotate that shin inward and then tighten the quad and almost try to rotate this out onto the mat, okay? So you're gonna hold it for about 5 seconds and you're gonna do 5 to 10 of them and then recheck and see if you're able to get either a little bit further or if you're even able to get up at all. So that's something that's really good to check. Now, if you are hypermobile or if you've got those old school Barbie doll knees, this probably isn't for you. But just if you are pretty stiff, this is something you're gonna wanna make sure you work on for normal gait mobility. All right, the next thing we're gonna go over is this tissue right above the knee joint where the quad starts to turn into a tendon. That area can get, like we talked about, pretty grimy if you're starting to do activities that you haven't done much of before, or if you're starting to increase your mileage, or if you're just maybe don't have the perfect technique yet, but you're working on it, this is gonna be for you. So you can grab any sort of a ball. Tennis ball, lacrosse ball is gonna be even more aggressive. I just grabbed actually a little playground ball for my kids, and so it's one of those bouncy balls, but it's good and rigid, so it's not gonna collapse on me, it's not full of air. So you can take that and you're gonna lay on your stomach and put this kind of under the inside corner of this quad. So if you drew kind of like a smiley face right there, I want one corner of that smile, and then you're gonna lay on it, okay? And find that spot, and then you're gonna pump your knee up and down about 10 times, okay? And then you're gonna move a little bit and put that ball in right in the center of that tissue, and again, pump about 10 times, and then you're gonna roll a little bit further. You can see that ball come laterally, and then we're gonna do another 10 times. Just start breaking up some of the gunk that's in that tissue. That would be really good, because when you're running, it's really important to have that knee flexion ability for your power and your stride. All right, so I hope those two things were helpful. Start to get on those. Do a couple little body scans to see where you are. If you got questions, shoot them our way. But again, try those two things, see what you get. I love you more than you know. Bye.